Perfect. All right. This is definitely on.
Let me turn up a little.
Okay.
Hello?
Oh, there. Yep, it's on. For anyone who already has been using, has already signed up, yes, you can bring out your computers and log in. You guys will have the ability to do it today once I'm done with the presentation, the training presentation. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay, so who has actually seen the demo of Remine before? So a few of you. So I guess most of you have not, so I'm going to go through the beginning. I want to start off by giving you a quick background about who we are and why we're doing this and how this all got started. Some of you may have heard of the Leo Pareja team. I was the general manager of that. That is my husband, Leo Pareja. We started our team about 14 years ago, and over the course of 14 years, we closed about 4,000 transactions and about $1 billion worth of business. We sold that team to Compass Real Estate in 2016. We also own 50% of Washington Capital Partners. You may have heard of that, but the whole idea behind why we built Remine and why we put everything into this platform is based on the frustrations that we had running our team. So everything I'm going to show you is basically tips and tricks that we used in terms of finding data. What we've done is we've aggregated it and put it all into here. When we went out for this hunt for public record data, we called CoreLogic and Black Knight, which are the two largest data providers in the country, and we said, we want the data in 7 counties that we were servicing because we weren't finding enough data in Matrix. And they said, yeah, sure, that's going to be, $300K up front and then, $30K a month to update. So we said, there's got to be another way. Our COO of Remine, Jonathan Spinetta, who was also our business partner, he found out that Wrestling, which is owned by Zillow, was having a hack open record API. And so went to the Zillow hackathon. We actually won, and we didn't win because we were the best technologists in the room. We won because we actually have sold real estate and we understand what the practitioner wants. November 2015, come back home, build a proper prototype, and immediately my husband brings it to Keller Williams, Century 21, Rheology. They all said the same thing. I want to buy this for my brand specifically. And so we have to think about this. This is much bigger than what we had originally built for our internal team. Like, how do we deploy this into the marketplace? What's the best way to commercialize this? And the whole idea was born with, agents live and breathe in the MLS, so that it makes the most sense. And I think there's a lot of heat in the industry right now where the types of companies that are spending money on data, they're not friends of the industry. They are trying to eliminate the real estate agent. I find real estate very true and dear to my heart because it has provided an amazing opportunity for myself and my family. And so when we started to think about, okay, what are we going to do with all this data? We said, let's go with the MLSs. And when we went around the country and we presented our product, it was a no-brainer. MLS immediately said, yes, come on in. Let's get integrated because you're actually here to help and protect the real estate agents over the next 15 years. And so everything I'm going to show you today, again, we are integrated with Bright MLS, so you will have access to Remine covered by your Bright MLS dues. Now, there are some features and products that are behind a paywall, but you will have access to the platform through Bright MLS. So first off, what you see is this map. So when you log in, the same way you'll be logging in with, into Matrix, you'll see Keystone Matrix. There's going to be a tab that says Remine. You click on the Remine tab, and it takes you into this platform view. Now, if I want to look for a property record, I put in 1105 Lincoln Avenue, and then it auto-populates everything that matches 1105 Lincoln Avenue. So I click on 1105 Lincoln Avenue. I click on that, and now it takes me to this screen. So everything on this screen that you're seeing right now is in your field of vision. So up top left-hand corner, there's 1,000 results. So that means there's 1,000 results that I'm looking at on this screen. All of these blue dots represent parcels. All of these stars represent residential parcels that I'm tracking. So included with Bright MLS dues, you can track up to 100 people or properties. After 100, it's behind a paywall. But these are this is my neighborhood, this is my home address, and these are the stars these are the properties I'm tracking in my neighborhood. So right off the bat, you see that the estimated value is 1.1, the estimated loan balance, estimated net equity, who the owners are, and what the sell score is. Anywhere in the link where there's a blue link, a hyperlink, you can click on that and it'll take you to the next page. So this is just basically a property record page, but we've brought in new information now. So now you can see what the active mortgage is, the amount, the rate, the type, the lender, the estimated payment, again, that estimated net equity. So if you're getting ready for a listing appointment and somebody calls you, pop in the address, and now you see right off the bat, oh, okay, this person has equity. This is worth me getting in my car and driving across town to go meet with the seller. You also see the flood zone information. This property is medium to low risk. We have an open API with FEMA, so we get that data directly from them. And now you can go and see all of the schools that belong with this property. So no more having to go to an external website to greatschools.org. It's right there. So we pull from niche.com. These are the schools that are associated with this property. And we have 3 AVMs. So we partnered with First American because they have done the most refis by volume in the country. And we also partnered with Zillow. I know everybody hates Zillow. They've actually gotten a lot better over the years. They used to be terrible, but they've gotten better. But the reality of it is if our clients are looking at Zillow, we should be familiar with what that number is. And then we brought in e-appraisal as well. So you've got 3 different AVMs to go by, which gives you an average valuation. And it also gives you an average rental estimate. And then we've got census data on a zip plus 4 resolution. So this is the census data, not on the zip code, but the zip plus 4. So you get a piece of mail, the zip code, the 4 numbers, that's a zip plus 4. And the zip plus 4 is typically 10 single family homes or like the floor of a condo building. So back to that original example, I get a phone call, the seller says, I'm at 1105 Lincoln Avenue. Okay, great. I fact checked. You have net equity. Then I go through this demographics and I see that 61% do not have children. So if I do a walkthrough and there's a den, I'm going to suggest that den is then staged as a home office instead of a home nursery based on this data. We also see the education and career information. So I see that there's not a big population of military families in here. Let's say I go after military clients. That's a piece of information that I would want to know. We also see the average net income, average net worth, and then we also see the own versus rent. So we can see that 70% are owner occupant. If my client, for example, was looking to purchase this home and they say, you know, how many people actually rent in this neighborhood? Now I actually have the data behind it. We have the transactional history, mortgage information, and then we've got what's called associated people with the property. So as you see right there, Leonardo Pareja, Ariana Pareja are the owners of this property. Then we've got Patricia and Ronaldo who are associated with this property. Now, Ronaldo and Patricia, I love them dearly. They are my in-laws. Thank God they don't live in my house. Oh no, this is on record. I just got to record saying that. Just kidding. I love them very dearly. But I'm so grateful they don't live in my house. But the reason why they're associated with my property is because they actually live in Belize and they get all of their IRS stuff, all of their everything mailed to our house. So they're associated with the property. So let's say you wanted to purchase the contact information on the people in this household for as little as $3. And if you're on one of our paid plans, it could be as little as $1. You would unlock the Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, social media, phone numbers for everyone that's in the property, owner, occupant, or tenant, or someone who's associated with the property. And so the reason why we call it associated with the property is because we pulled that data in the case that, let's say, you're trying to track down the owner of a lot, and the lot's in an LLC. Well, then you can track them down through one of the associated people with that property. And so again, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, mobile phone number, landline, email. If they're on the do not call list, it will be listed as it is here. So any questions on the contact data?
How often does that get updated?
As often as it, I'd say about every 30 days. So all of our data sets is anywhere between 15 minutes to 30 days. And so the contact data, there will be times where it's incorrect, and the reason being is because, actually, I think it's like the number is like 30 million phone numbers get connected and disconnected every single month in the United States. So there's going to be times where it's incorrect. And when the time that it is, you just click this chat box, let us know. Type it right in there, hey, this phone number is incorrect. We immediately reimburse your account because we have a whole entire Nordstrom policy where it's just like, hey, if it's incorrect, we refund you right there on the spot. Yes, ma'am.
Where do you pull the contact information from?
We purchased it from 20 different data sets. So no contact data is ever going to be 100% correct, but we're fairly about on the 85% spectrum.
And is there, since you're pulling up information on a property, and you see the mortgage and all that stuff, it also shows like, when it was recently purchased or
Oh, yeah.
all that stuff, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It gives you all that information. So this was a new construction build, but yes, all of the transactional history, we actually go back 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we go back 20 years.
One other thing I wanted to ask you, on the front page of this, when you pulled it up, it showed your move score, I guess it was.
Yep, that was
And
our
it was
cell
19 to
score.
24 months or
Yep,
something. Is
and
that accurate?
and so I'll get into the cell score in a bit.
At your house?
Oh, in my house, we just got a second au pair. It's every single room in our house is completely packed. So we've actually been talking and looking about getting into a bigger space. Yeah. We haven't made any. I'll keep that in mind. So back to this map here. You can see MLS data now. So I'm going to pull up all of the active listings in my area. And now I could see right off the bat every house that's listed for sale. So this is going to be a new way to use your MLS. You're not going to have to even, all of the data is going to be right here. So if I click on 313 Grove Avenue, it's going to be the same exact information that we just saw, that census data, the mortgage information, all that stuff. But then you also see the public remarks, the agent showing instructions. So what we've done is we've taken the listing and put it on top of the property record, so you don't have to toggle back and forth between two different platforms. It's all right there. So then let's say I'm getting ready to write an offer on this property. I click on the agent's name, and I see, oh, okay, now I can mentally prepare myself that Scott McDonald is not a newbie agent, and I don't have to. He's actually a seasoned pro. He's done 99 things in his career. So when I submit my offer, I better come correct when I do it. So a lot of you agents are probably using HomeSnap now to do that. Now you don't have to use HomeSnap. It's right here. Again, all the MLS information, active, pending, sold, expired. You can do a search by that way. But now I'm going to go into the opportunities portion of Remine. So we could search by last sales price. We can search by ownership time. This is probably one of my favorite filters because we all know that most people move in 7 to 12 years. So I could put in a custom filter of 7 to 12, right? And now it's only showing me the properties that are 7 to 12. So I apply that filter, and now all of the blue dots, that's 143 results. That's 7 to 12. But let me take it a step further. So the blue dots that are shown right here, and on the top left-hand corner, it says 143 results. That information there. But let me take it a step further. Now I'm going to put on one of our premium filters on top of the home ownership time. I'm going to put in, home equity. So I'm going to look for homes with ownership time of 7 to 12 years, and then at least 250 to 500K home equity. I apply that filter. That brought me down from 143 results to 58 results. So remember, you can track up to 100 properties. Anything after 100 properties is behind a paywall. So I click Show List, and now I see a list of homes that are 7 to 12 years ownership time, 250 to 500K. That's a pretty interesting list. That is a great list to go cold call, door knock, farm to. Whatever I want to do with that list, I can do that list. So now I'm going to just call this my farm in Falls Church, and I'm going to track this. And so now I'm tracking 58 new properties in my track. So hide list, clear all.
So the 100 that you can track without the premium is that per list or is that just per user?
So it's per user. So you could track 100 properties. You could choose them individually or as a group, exactly. So now maybe I want to search for something more interesting. And so this is also a premium filter. It's the property value filter. So when we did a lot of flips in Arlington and Falls Church, we were looking for three things. We were looking for homes with a property value between like 550 and 650. So let me put that in here. So I'll just put property value 550 to 750K. I apply that filter. That gives me 264 results. We were also looking for properties that had ownership time of at least 10 years. So I'll put in, 10 to 11 years right here. Apply filter. And then that gives me one result. But you know what though? If I go door knock that one result, that's better than door knocking 200 homes that are not interested. Because let's be realistic, in this little geographical neighborhood, there's probably only one home that is a good opportunity for a tear down. Right? So I could do that, and then I could even put in like year built ownership, year built before 1970 on top of that filter. So those are just some of the ways that you could be using Remine. So, if you're going after sellers, high equity, ownership time 7 to 12 years, and then if you're looking for teardown opportunities, property value, ownership time 10 years plus, and then year built before 1970.
Ariana,
Yes.
there's no way to find out, like the condition of the home, if it's been upgraded, either unless you like look through the permits and stuff like that.
So that's a great question. If you're tracking that property, you will get notifications if they pull out a permit.
Oh, really?
So, and I'll get to that. So if you've got a client that's like, hey, what's that being built up over there? Now you can tell them, well, it's been zoned for commercial use or entertainment use. You can search by flood zone. So this is a great one, and this is also a premium filter. And by the way, all the good ones are premium filters behind a paywall, but affordable paywall. So we have the flood zone here. Everything that you see on the map is low to medium risk, right? So this is my neighborhood. I know my neighborhood pretty well. I also know that in my neighborhood there's a large creek. High risk. All of these properties, high flood insurance risk. So you're looking at homes for your buyer, and your buyer says, I'm interested in 1107 Randolph Street. You go to 1107, you say, hey, before I take you to go show you this home, just so you know, you're going to need to pay for flood insurance, high flood insurance. So are you still interested before I get in my car and drive over to go pick you up? So saving you time and energy. The whole idea behind everything in Remine is to save you guys time and be better practitioners.
And again, that's accurate. That's for FEMA.
That we have an open API from FEMA. This is directly pulled from FEMA. So the zoning, no, the zoning, it's more of just like land use. It's just more to like have that information. Like we don't have the actual zoning number on there. So you'll just be able to say this has been zoned for commercial. It's more for the use of like your clients, like, hey, what are they building over there? Do you know? Just to make you more of a neighborhood expert.
But for as far as teardowns, if you want to know, how big of a house or if the land is enough, because in Arlington there's certain.
Yeah, no, we don't have that yet. Yeah. And so moving on, we also have the absentee filter. This is one of my favorite filters for obvious reasons. But you can use this whether you are a buyer's agent or a listing agent for geographical farming. I love this filter. This is also a premium filter. You can see ownership time. So let's say I'm a buyer's agent in Falls Church and I want to go after renters. I can go after all of the absentee in-state and all the absentee out-of-state. And now it's going to show me all of these properties. And then maybe I want to say, okay, I want to go after, these homes right here. This is kind of like my area. I can draw a map around that. And then I can do show list. And then I can track all. And then I can call this renters. And now that's saved to my track. So I can put together a farming campaign that says for the same amount of money that you're renting in this property, you could be living in this neighborhood. Or vice versa, if I want to go after the sellers, I can go and do a search for all of absentee out of state, and we provide all the absentee out of state mailing addresses. So you can then go after those homeowners and say, hey, the market's hot in Falls Church. Enjoy your time in Miami. Why don't you list with me? This is what homes are selling for right now. Same with, if you want to just search by owner occupant, you can also search by LLC owned or owned in a trust.
Oh yeah, real quick. So for the renters, you actually have the renter's name.
Yes, because they're associated with the property.
Okay.
Because they've gotten utility bills or they've gotten, yes.
Just because you mentioned, again, the associated with property. I went to one of these classes a while ago, but question about under 18.
Yes, so under the age of 18 will not be displayed for privacy reasons. No, I wouldn't want people to be able to have access to my children's information. So, yeah, so.
Teenagers that you can worry about.
Yeah.
The phone bills and the social media and everything, you don't want that.
Yeah, exactly.
Their name doesn't show up anywhere.
Not at all. It does not show up. But you have to be over the age of 18 to show up.
But does it mention like if there's children in the property?
No.
Okay.
No, we can't because that would be breaking privacy rules. We wouldn't want people to know where children are. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you could go by that census data. So those are all the different filters that you can find opportunities. You can also search by Airbnb score. So let's say you have a client that's like, hey, I'm thinking about renting my place out once I buy it. Now you can tell them, well, you could probably rent it out for $229, or you can rent out a room for $80 a night. So that's pretty interesting. Oops, sorry. Every time I slouch, this makes a noise. So I need to fix my posture. Sorry, guys. So you can also search by cash buyers. The Airbnb part? So the Airbnb is basically if you have a client that's like, hey, I want to buy this condo or I want to buy this house and I'm probably going to be traveling 6 months out of the year. How much could I rent it out on Airbnb for per night? Then now you can tell them, well, based on this neighborhood, these are what the other homes are renting out their home for per night. So now we're going to go to this track page. So this is where all the different properties I'm tracking. I have created different labels. And so look at the top left-hand corner. I'm tracking 2,489 opportunities based on the few searches that I've been doing. Remember, anything after 100 properties is behind a paywall. So we have here all my different labels. I can go down and sort. I can click on, my farm in Falls Church. I can click select all. And now I can download that property CSV. And I can take that CSV file, I can go door knocking, I can upload it to my Salesforce or my CRM, I can put it to my mailing list. Whatever I want to do with that data is now mine. And you can do that as much as you want. Same with upload CSV. So let's say you have a Excel spreadsheet, CSV file of all of your past clients, your friends, your family, anyone who is in your network. If you upload that into our system, you can now start tracking them, and you can get what's called a cell score. And so let me go over the cell score for a second. So if I click on this filter, I can see all the different cell scores for all the people in this neighborhood. So 0 to 6 months, 7 to 12. And I want to talk about this for a little bit because it's not the end-all, be-all filter because predictive analytics is just, again, it's a prediction. Right? But I do want everyone to start thinking about how they're marketing to their clients. Like I'll use myself for example. Before I had kids, I used to get ads in my Instagram feed that would say 50% off flights to Vegas, 25% off shoes at Nordstrom. And then what happened? I got pregnant. I started getting ads for prenatal vitamins. And then I was 7 months pregnant. My belly's out to here. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can barely walk. And I start getting ads for stretch mark cream. This is serious. This is I'm not joking. This is not a joke. This really happened. True story. Do you guys think I bought that stretch mark cream? Damn right I bought that stretch mark cream. I bought the stretch mark cream. And then when I was about 2-3 weeks postpartum, I started getting ads for formula and daycares. And do you think I looked into that as well? I most certainly did. And so I want you guys to start thinking, like, when you're marketing to your clients, the day of like slapping your face on a shiny postcard and mailing it to 200 homes and expecting somebody to do business with you, those days are officially over. Think about the last few purchases you've made on Amazon, or when you're in your Google and you start getting ads for the Hawaii vacation you had been searching. You need to get in front of your customers at the right place at the right time. Not what's convenient for you, but what's convenient for them. And so the only way to do that is by using data. And so the sell score is not something we created, actually. SmartZip did 10 years ago. And then First.io and Offers has approved upon it and Reevaluate. There's tons of other companies out there. They're all pretty much the same algorithm. It's the combination of public record data and the consumer files of the people that live in the home. So, like, for example, if I am a 28-year-old female, that's public record data, 28 years old. I've been legally married for 2 years, public record data. I live in a one-bedroom condo, public record data. But now I start searching and I do a baby registry at Babies R Us, consumer file data. What is the probability of me being 28-year-old, married, pregnant, moving out of that one-bedroom condo to a house, or at least 50%, right? Or if I'm a military family that moves every single 3 years, and now we're almost at the 3rd year mark, what's the probability of us moving again? Pretty high. So I tell people that the sell score is not the end-all be-all, right? It's not. I use the sell score in combination with the home equity score, the property value, ownership time. That's how I would use it. So remember, you could use filters on top of filters inside of the Remine platform. So another great thing, door knocking. Like, I don't know, anyone in here a door knocker? If you have a 50% at bat at door knocking, isn't that much better than knocking on 50 people's doors? So let's use that for an example. I'm going to go door knocking everyone 0 to 6. I apply a filter, and then I put in a home equity value of at least 250K, apply filter. That brings me 44 results, but let's take it a step even further. Let's say that they've been living in the home for at least 5 to 10 years. That brings me 0 results. But but I have 46 results of people that just have 0 to 6 months and 250 to 500K. And so maybe I want to change my search up. I can just move this map around. So maybe not that part of the neighborhood. So anywhere I want to search, maybe now I want to go into this neighborhood, you just drag the map around and it'll re-filter those results. So now on this side of the neighborhood, I have 25 or 29 results. So I click show list, and now I can go door knock those 29 homes instead of the 200-300 that I would have done aimlessly before. So back to the track again. So these are all the things that you're tracking. And so now I'm going to go into the notifications. And this is really, really the beauty of Remine. This is where I think is the most powerful part of Remine, because now that you're tracking people, you're going to get notifications on people. So let's say I uploaded a list of all my past clients, 200 people. And then I'm tracking the 200 properties surrounding my primary residence, because as practitioners, we should be able to list a home in our own neighborhood. And then maybe I'm tracking the 200 properties surrounding my last successful listing, right? So I'm tracking 600 properties. So for 600 properties, I'm going to start getting notifications. If the sell score changes on anyone in that home of the 600 homes I'm tracking, the sell score changes from 24 months and now most likely selling to 0 to 6 months, I get a notification. If the MLS status changes on any property that I'm tracking, let's say I'm tracking Janet at 123 Main Street. She decides to list her house for sale. I get a notification. I can call Janet and be like, what the? or I could take her off the Christmas list, that's for sure. Occupancy information. Let's say, for example, I put Mr. and Mrs. Smith into a house 5 years ago. They're past clients of mine. Mr. and Mrs. Smith start fighting. Mr. Smith decides that he's going to go get an apartment in Adams Morgan and live out his midlife crisis. True story, these things happen, right? You will get that notification that the occupancy information has changed. Now, I don't suggest you call Mrs. Smith and say, hey, I heard your husband's running around town. Are you going to be needing a realtor anytime soon? Yeah, no, don't call Mrs. Smith to get a date.
If you upload your information, does that count as a 100?
Yes.
It does count.
Yes, it does. So let's say you get a notification that, yeah, so you can call Mrs. Smith and you could say, hey, let's go out for coffee, or in this situation, probably alcohol. Just check it in. Let's have some drinks, cry on my shoulder. Are you going to be needing a realtor? Contact information. If the contact information changes on anyone that you're tracking, whether it's their phone number, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, email, you send out a monthly email newsletter, they change their primary email address, you get that notification, you can then update it. Mortgage information, let's say you're tracking Janet at 123 Main Street and she decides to pay off her mortgage, you get a notification. What does that mean for you? That means she's got equity. If she decides to do a refinance or pull out a second, you will also get that notification. And then we have the deed information. Let's say, for example, you put Mr. Smith into a house 5 years ago. Unfortunately, Mr. Smith passes away. And now the title changes from Mr. Smith to Mr. Smith Jr. You will get that notification that Mr. Smith Jr. has now been on title. You can purchase the contact information for Mr. Smith Jr. since you don't have a relationship with him yet. And then you can call him and say, my condolences. I'm so sorry about your loss. I actually put your father into this house 5 years ago. Let me list this home for you. Tenants are a pain in the neck, and the market's hot right now. So anytime someone comes on or off title, you get a notification. Absentee status. Let's say you're tracking Janet at 123 Main Street. Janet at 123 Main Street decides, the heck with Northern Virginia, I can't do another winter here. I'm going down to Sarasota and I'm going to live out my life there and I'm just going to rent out my house. You get a notification that she's absentee owner now. And you can give her a call and say, hey, listen, why don't you just enjoy your time in Florida? I'll list your house for you. The market's hot. Right now is the best time to sell. And then we've got vacancy information. If you're tracking a property, whether it's from your SOI or just a random house that you're tracking, if the home goes vacant, you will get a notification. And why is that information important? Well, what happens if a home goes vacant? Typically, it's going to go into foreclosure or default, or it's just getting ready to sell. You get a notification. So you may be the first person to find out about a default property. Square footage. So let's say Janet at 123 Main Street decides to pull a permit to add a 300 square foot addition to her home. You will get that notification. Now, she could be getting ready to sell her house, and that's why she added this 300 square foot addition, or she could not, but either way, you get that notification, you can give her a call, and you can move forward from there. So the whole idea behind the whole entire notifications tab is like your prospecting tool. You come into the office on Monday, you're like, okay, who do I need to call? Who do I need to get in front of? Who do I need to set lunch with? Who do I need to go do a walkthrough with? Based on these notifications. And obviously, the more people you're tracking, the more notifications you're going to get, and then the more deals you're going to close at the end of the year. So think of the notifications section as your prospecting tool. Come into the office, go through your notifications. Okay, so-and-so is absentee now. Let me call them and move forward that way. Any questions on the notifications right now? Yes.
Does anybody opt out of all this?
Like an actual like homeowner?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they can, and we've had one person so far across all the different markets that we're servicing. We're in 42 different MLS markets, and we've only had one person thus far email us and say, please take me off.
How do they find out?
How do they find out? Yeah, how do they know?
They were an agent.
Oh.
Yeah, they were an agent that said, I don't want my information on here.
It doesn't show up.
Consumers won't know that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and half of it's public record.
Right, half of it's a public record. And again, the only way you can access Remine is if you're a practitioner, not if you're a consumer. And that was the whole thing about where our mission is to put more data back into the practitioner's hands than the consumer's hands. So you can only access this if your MLS has acquired it and through your MLS. So when you log in, you're actually logging with your MRIS credentials.
When is it active here?
So it's already live and active since February 1st for anyone who's on a plan. Those who are waiting for the starter plan, which is covered by your MLS dues, will have availability with general availability, which will be about 6 to 8 weeks from now. And so moving forward, we have the different plans. So as I mentioned before, the starter plan, which you can track up to 100 people or properties, is covered with your MLS dues. That will be available in 6 to 8 weeks. You will not be able to see the property value, equity valuation, absentee, flood map, or school and neighborhood filtering. Those are all premium filters. So once you're behind that paywall on the Plus, the Success, or the Pro, the main difference between each plan is the amount of people that you're tracking. So it goes from tracking 250 to 500 to 10,000. And then the cost of contact information per household drops drastically. So it goes from $3, $2.50, $1.50, down to $1 per household to unlock all of the people's phone numbers, emails, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitters.
So even when you're on a plane, you're still paying for it.
Correct. That is correct. And so, again, you're tracking the different properties. So what I always suggest to agents is you should be tracking all of your SOI, all of your past clients, because those are people that you have a relationship with. And then you should be tracking all of the 200 properties surrounding your primary residence. And then if you were a listing agent, you should be tracking the 200 to 500 properties surrounding your last few successful listings. And the reason why I say that is because when this goes live with general availability and everybody in Bright has access to this, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to be door knocking and they're going to be sending flyers. But if you are tracking the people in your sphere, people you already have a relationship with, or the people in your neighborhood you already have a relationship with, or your last few successful listings, when you go door knocking or when you cold call, you can say, hey, I've actually done it. I actually live in this neighborhood, or I've actually sold in this neighborhood. I am the true neighborhood expert, not all these 10 other agents that are bombarding you with collateral. So work with me. And so, again, you should be tracking your past clients, your sphere of influence, 200 properties surrounding your primary residence, and the 200 properties surrounding your last successful listing. I typically suggest if you were a brand new agent, you should be on the Plus. If you are a heavily focused buyer's agent, Success. And then if you are a listing agent or you do more than 7 deals per year, automatically, hands down, you should be on the Pro. Yes, question.
So you mentioned tracking our sphere of influence. How do we
Upload that? Yep. So right in here where it says upload CSV file, you just literally upload the CSV file.
You have to already have them into a spreadsheet or something?
You have to have it in an Excel spreadsheet. You need their first name and last name. If you have their address, it matches better. If you don't have their address, that's okay. It just may not be matched. There's a better chance of it matching if you have the address attached to it. So just first name, last name, address. And you just upload it, and you can start getting Excel scores on those people. You can see their home equity. Last week, I was doing a demo for a team in Chantilly, and she's like, look up my neighbor's house. I was like, okay. And she was blown away. She's like, this lady's been telling me she's going to let me list her house. And I've been like taking her out to coffee. We've been like chit-chatting for like the last 6 months. She had negative $200,000 of equity. That agent was just like, I cannot believe it. I'm so upset that I've like spent so much time and energy on my neighbor and like negative 200,000 in equity.
So in terms of creating these kind of areas or focusing on an area, is there a means to define a specific geographic area? Like within MRIS, you can draw a map, a polygon map.
So let me show you that. This is also a way to do it. It is a premium filter. But let's say, for example, you have a client that says, I need to be in the Shreveport Elementary School District. This is where my kids go to school. I don't want to uproot them and change things. So I put in Shreveport Elementary School District. It draws a map around Shreveport Elementary School District. I zoom in, and now I see Shreveport Elementary School District. I can then see what active listings are inside of Shreveport Elementary School District, and I can apply that filter. That gives me 7 results. I can click Show List. I can track all, and I can say homes for Tom.
How do you get to MRA? So if I want to show those properties.
So unfortunately, right now, we don't have a way to do that. You can track those properties and export that list, and you have at least the addresses. That's something that we're working on. It's not going to be available probably with Bright, probably for another year. And so
eventually, but I put the manual trick
exactly. Eventually, you're going to do all your MLS functions through Remine in the next couple of years. But as of right now, it is limited. So you would be able to track those properties, and you could export that list into a CSV files. Or, your client says, hey, those 7 properties don't match my criteria, but I really want to live in that school district. Well, then you can do a search for ownership time, 7 to 12 years, and then you can put in home equity value, and then you can go after. So I got 7 to 12, that's 125 results. I put a home equity of 250 to 500K, apply that. That gives me 59 results. And then maybe I'll put a sell score, 0 to 6 months, apply that result. That gives me 21 results. That gives me 21 people I can now call to try and find a property for my client. Exactly. And so you can also do this search by zip code as well. So I do 22046, click on that, draws a boundary map, and I can zoom in, and I can see everything there. Another question that people are sometimes asking, like, can you see what I was doing a demo for someone in DC the other day, and they heavily market around metros. If there was a metro here, you could see it on the map, so you can physically see that as well. Any other questions on terms of this?
That's all nice, but can you also just draw a circle like we do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. So let's say I want to draw, there's a circle, or I want to draw a rectangle or a polygon. I want to do it around here. Boom. It's right there. That gives me all my results. Show list, track all, label it whatever I want to label it.
You're pulling from great schools?
Excuse me?
The school information, you're pulling from great schools?
We're pulling from niche.com. It's a competitor to greatschools.org. It does. Yep. So let me go to back to 105 and give you an example. So I go into there, click on here. It's going to give you the ratings. It's going to give you the student to teacher ratio. It's going to give you the overall grade of that school and what grades it serves. And so back to the subscriptions page here. Again, so as I mentioned before, some of these out. Everything that's included in the Bright MLS dues, you'll be able to have access 6 to 8 weeks. For those of you that start playing around with this now before the spring market hits, you can have access to it today and start playing around with it now. We are running a promotion since we are still in beta. For any of you that are looking to start playing around with this today, we're running a promotion of 50% off the first 3 months. So if you know you're going to play around, might as well pay $99 for the first 3 months instead of $199. Play around with it. As you see right here on the screen, it says call to downgrade. So you can call to downgrade at any time. As I mentioned before, we were practitioners and we used to get sold stuff all the time, and we hated those annual contracts. So there is no annual contract. Everything is month to month. You can call to downgrade at any time. You can call to upgrade at any time. If you're trying out success and you decide, oh my gosh, I've already passed my 500, I need to upgrade, that's a very simple, easy process. You just give us a call, or you click this chat box, and you'll right off the bat, you can get upgraded or down. And so what happens with the onboarding is once you have signed up, you will then have a onboarding training, which we can hold either here at your office, one-on-one in person, or you can come to our office. We hold trainings weekly at our office. We're headquartered in Fairfax, Virginia, in Mosaic. So that's the other great thing about this, is that you don't talk to someone in the Philippines or something like that. Like, we're all here in Fairfax, Virginia. So take advantage of that, because all the other MLS contracts that we service, they don't have that privilege that you guys do, that we are literally located in Fairfax, Virginia. That's where our headquarters are. So if you do want to sign up, and you will get an onboarding tutorial of how to use this for your business model. We go through every single search filter. We show you how to upload your contacts. We tell you what scripts to use. So it's a great use of information, and take advantage of the fact that we are local, because every other MLS, they don't have that advantage that you guys do. And so, like I said, the onboarding is typically, anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour, and we can do those demonstrations at our office here, or one-on-one in person, whatever works for you guys, whatever your learning curve, your learning style is. Any questions? Yes.
All of them included?
Yes. So once you get behind the paywall, which starts at the Plus to the Pro, you have access to all of the filters. All of the filters are the same. The only difference the reason why there's a difference in pricing is because of the amount of properties that you're tracking. So in the Plus, you're tracking 250, 500, then 10,000. And that's why I mentioned before, if you're a brand new agent, you should be on the Plus, because you're not going to be doing any listings anytime soon. If you're predominantly focused on buyers, then you should be on the Success. And then if you are or do more than 7 deals per year, you should be on the Pro. Any questions about that? Yes.
So I track 500 properties, download the CSV file. Can I track those properties as well, 500 more?
You can, but you're not going to get the notifications on them. And the whole purpose of it is to get the notification so you know who to prospect. Yeah. Because taking that information only gets you so far. It's getting those notifications as they come in, so you know when to get in front of your clients and call them. That's what's the most powerful tool behind this. Yes.
Do you track any of the safety and crime?
That we do not. It's not allowed.
Oh.
Yeah. If you can track like crime rates, like it's against the MLS regulations.
Yep, yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Does anyone have questions on how they would use this for their business model? Or does anyone want me to go through what those premium filters are?
Well, I can't read that thing from here. What do we get on this, just to the starter?
The starter plan can only track up to 100 properties, but you won't have access for another 2 months. If you want to start playing around with this now. Oh, so those are the premium filters, which is, again, the property valuation, ownership type, time, equity map, absentee, flood map, and the school and neighborhood filtering.
Right, so what do you get? What can you see?
What can you see? You can see the land use. You can see the Airbnb filter. You can see the cash buyer filter. You can see a search by last sales price. You can search by mortgage rate as well. You can get the sell score. Yeah. But remember what I was saying about the sell score, it's not going to be 100% accurate. It's really just like a 50% at bat. So when you're using the sell score, it's better to use it on top of the home equity filter, ownership type filter. It's going to be more accurate that way. Any other questions? Would you like me to go through the filters again so you guys know what filters you would get and what not would get? No? No? Everyone's good? Okay. So like I mentioned, the onboarding training would happen immediately. You could start playing around with this today, and you can start using it to build your business, whether you're going after renters, whether you're going after absentee owners, or if you're going after owner occupants. This is a great tool. And the beauty behind this when we were building it, it was like, let's think about how realtors get their business. And it's like you can use this whether you're a cold caller, whether you're a door knocker, whether you're a geographical farmer, or whether you're just one of those people that's like, I just rely on my SOI and my sphere of influence. So it's like no matter what your business model, you can use Remine to amplify your business model. And that's the beauty of it. It's like if you're already good at building relationships in your SOI, then upload your SOI and track those people. If you're good at geographical farming, this is going to make your life a lot easier and going to save you a lot of money because you're not sending a postcard to 200 homes. You're only sending it to 28 or 30 homes. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not gonna be able to do this today. The agent I work for in Township. Is there a place where I can register to look at this online?
No, because we're in beta and we're literally manually uploading everybody because we're not with general availability. So if you want to take advantage of it, it has to be today. Yes, ma'am.
Contact data, so again, speaking of farming, so addresses. Are addresses part of what you have to pay for?
No. So that,
Yeah, the addresses are there.
yeah, the address is already there.
Okay, so it's just the phone numbers.
It's just the contact information. The contact information is what you're paying for. If you want to, yes.
If you do sign up for something today for 3 months, are you going to just automatically, is it one of those things that you forget to call, you're just going to keep getting billed?
Yeah, I mean, you get 50% off the 3 months.
It continues and you get billed for 4 months, 5 months, but you just need to let you know
Yeah, if you want to stay on.
if we want to. In other words, it will continue.
It will
regardless.
continue
Okay,
regardless,
gotcha.
yes. Yes, ma'am. Did you have a question?
Same question about.
If you can get it to me before 5 p.m. Yeah. Scan and email to before 5 p.m. I could do that. Okay. If anyone wants to scan and email this into me before 5 p.m., I'm going to leave some of my business cards up here at the front.
Offer something like this. I can't.
Yes.
I do the next steps for all the new agents.
Oh, okay.
And so I was going to say, and I was going to put up a slide about Remine in there and say, hey, start with this, but you're not ready for that yet. So they can't start signing up yet.
They can sign up. They just, if they want to be on one of the paid plans, if they're on the starter plan, they'd have to wait for general availability.
Right. Same, but they can't do any plans. Like, let's say I meet somebody on Tuesday next week. I can't sign them up anywhere or any of those plans. If I could, that kind of stuff.
What are you doing on Tuesday?
What am I doing it Tuesday? No, I'm just saying, I was just doing an example. If I had somebody coming in for my
Gotcha.
next steps.
Let me get your card and maybe we could talk,
Okay.
figure something
Yeah,
out.
but that's more of a bigger than just one.
Yeah.